Well, a newly proposed bill, if passed, could allow public housing authorities in smaller cities like Harrisburg, Lancaster, and others to establish their own police departments. This is already in place in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and I'm now joined live by the state representative introducing the bill, Robert Friedman. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you. So let's get right to it. What does this bill aim to do?
Well, it seeks to allow cities of the third class, places like Harrisburg and Lancaster, Reading, York, Wilkes-Barre, Easton, Allentown, Bethlehem, and even Scranton, which is a city of the second class A, the ability to form their own housing authority police forces, the way Pittsburgh and Philadelphia have done for many years. And in this effort, it's to be able to make sure that they can better combat issues of crime or public safety that might exist. Some smaller cities have similar problems, rather, as larger cities do when it comes to ensuring public safety. And this is one measure that would help those public housing projects be able to be safer places, as well as also make sure that they could enhance community policing efforts, working with neighbors and residents to make them safer and to ensure their families, particularly the children and the elderly, have the proper police protection.
So going back to that crime, if you were to paint a broader picture for me, how would you say this bill would address that public safety gaps in smaller cities compared to larger urban areas like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh?
Well, by granting the authority to have their own public police force, the way Pittsburgh and Philadelphia have, it would enable them to have the ability to deal with community policing issues in public housing projects, and better to be in a position to have enough officers to address issues of crime. Some communities have a very stretched police force, and this would supplement that. Obviously, the public housing police would be able to call upon the municipal police if necessary. And I should note that the public housing police would have to go through all the accreditation requirements necessary to be a police force.
Well, I was going to say,
have to meet all those standards.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, do you think that some of it is just that police are so overwhelmed, so this is going to make a tighter department, which is going to be able to help them to get out to the community and know the community a bit better?
Yes, I think it will. By having it within the public housing facilities, you make a real opportunity for community policing and outreach to residents to make them safer and feel safer. One of the legacies of urban renewal is that a lot of public housing was built in isolated locations within our cities, and that can make them a target for less than safe activity. By having your own police force that would be backed up by the municipal police, we can ensure greater public safety.
So I'm interested to know what challenges you think could arise from funding these police forces strictly through housing authority budgets.
Well, I think there is that avenue. The public housing authority budget should be able to pay for these, just as we've seen in places like Pittsburgh and Philly. And it's a resource I'm sure they can draw on to make it possible. But not every city of the third class might want to do this. Not every public housing authority in the city of the third class might want to have a full-blown force. They might simply want to hire a detective to help better ensure public safety and ensure that the public housing area is safe.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. When you take a look at those smaller housing authorities, what would that decision process look like between deciding if you just need a detective or forming a full police force? Would it just really be community-based and how many people are in that area?
I think it would be community-based. The decision would ultimately lie with the public housing authorities within those communities to assess what the need is, whether it would be helpful, and if so, they would be able to pursue it.
And before we wrap it up, I just want to ask, if passed, how long might it take for housing authorities to establish police forces under this new legislation?
That's a very good question. The bill has been sent to my committee, the House Local Government Committee that I chair, so we're hoping to move on it soon. I would like to get it passed through the House in the spring if possible, and seen it take up by the Senate, hopefully in the fall session if possible. And then after that, it's a matter of those housing authorities obviously wanting to do it and putting together the plan to make it possible. But I think it really is a real opportunity to ensure greater community policing in our public projects, to make those residents safe, particularly the elderly and the children that live in those projects, and to ensure that the community as a whole has a greater law enforcement component to combat crime and ensure public safety.
A story we'll continue to follow. Representative Robert Friedman, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.